and we have all the oxidated atmosphere. That's why we had giants.
I guess everything really is bigger in Texas. This is Project Matador.
You're telling me Metallica's a psyop?
Yes. We are not alone.
Buckle up. Coming up in today's video, we got some of the most mysterious videos you're going to see on the internet today. Sit back, relax, and enjoy the show.
I said hello, and the dog looks at me. You know how dogs do their head like that? And he goes, hello. I said, oh my God, you do talk. And he said, yeah, that's how
crazy.
I got a job at the CIA. I said, I work at the CIA. He said, yeah, I was in counterterrorism. I said, I'm in counterterrorism. What did you do in counterterrorism? He said, well, because I talk, they sent me onto Bin Laden's compound, and I listened to what Bin Laden was saying.
Bro, I just
That's
found
crazy.
this out. When you search up his name, it's normal, but like when you type his name opposite, then delete the spaces. He didn't do that.
What?
You're telling me Metallica's a psyop?
Yes. In the 1940s, right after World War II, the culture war was on. Capitalism versus communism. We got to win at everything. So America, they founded a giant shell corporation called the CCF, the Congress for Cultural Freedom. 20 magazines, they owned news outlets. They started giving out money to basically promote jazz, and they sent jazz musicians all around the world. And jazz leads to rock and roll leads to metal. And then in October of 1991, Metallica performs for 1.6 million Soviets in Moscow, and by December, the USSR doesn't exist. Coincidence? I don't think so.
I guess everything really is bigger in Texas. This is Project Matador. This will be the largest data center in the entire world. To understand the actual size of this, it's 18 million square feet, okay? You could fit 15 Disneylands inside of this place, okay? 15. It would encompass the whole island of Key West. Wait till you hear how much power is used. 17 gigawatts, okay? To put that into perspective, it is literally enough power for 3 Irelands. It would power the whole state of Colorado and requires more power than the whole country of New Zealand 2.5 times. It would take literally 15 nuclear reactors just to produce enough power for this thing to run. Don't worry guys, it only uses nearly 1 billion gallons of water a year just to operate, even though they have a cooling system. Not only that, it'll literally produce nearly 23.5 million pounds of greenhouse gas emissions, which accounts for almost 15% of the whole state of Texas. How loud this thing is gonna be, right? It's 90 to 120 decibels. That's the equivalent of being next to someone with power tools. Now imagine trying to sleep next to it. We all need to speak out against these data centers. They're coming to a town near you, just watch.
Have nothing to do with the fruitless deeds of
coming.
darkness, but rather expose them.
Hey, wait, all of y'all. Half of America's oil comes from Midland, Odessa.
Okay.
Did you know that?
I didn't know that.
Did you know half of America's oil comes from Texas?
Okay.
You didn't know that.
I didn't know that either. This is all new information for me.
So when you go to the gas pump and you pay for gas, half of all that comes from Texas.
Okay.
Go to West Texas and see it, shit. It ain't friendly. When you're done recording this, use Google Maps and show Midland, Odessa from above. Have you ever seen it?
I haven't. Could you describe it?
It's a bunch of dots in a big, vast, barren field.
Oh, because they're digging down. To the,
Digging down?
well, the hole, the dots like holes. You said if I look from
I mean, they're really getting away with scamming us for all this gas prices. It's a scam, y'all, and we're just hook, line, and sinker.
Public schools buy their food from for lunches?
System.
Ollie. From the Department of Defense. The DOD? The DOD. It's a total scheme to where Department of Defense, they go out to these food companies and they get the contracts and then they turn around and sell it to the public school systems. They are in complete control over this profit line.
Oh, that's scary.
I think they said that,
I mean,
the school lunches is the only thing that's profitable in public schools.
That would make sense.
It would make sense,
Yeah.
but like hiking up prices and like choice, like the school doesn't have a say in what they can get for lunch. They are totally dependent on the Department of Defense to provide the food.
Interesting.
It's just weird.
That is
like
super weird.
Department of Defense controlling the school lunches, I thought was super weird.
Yeah, I guess I'm ignorant to that connection because that doesn't make sense to me.
Just the man wanting to get some moolah.
Moolah moolah.
Or what are they putting in that food?
The number one killer in the U.S.
But
right
also
now.
any type of freaking chemicals they want.
MK Ultra. Brainwashing.
You know what MK? The K stands for kindergarten, middle school.
It's sad that they start us at a young age putting these addictive drugs in us that are legal.
There's something really, really weird about this Maldives situation with all these divers. 5 divers went down on an unauthorized diving expedition. That Maldives authorities are saying this was an unauthorized dive, including a biology teacher who brought her daughter. Sounds a lot like Ocean. The leader of this group, they think, ended up with hypoxia, and he lost consciousness. And the other 4, they were all inside this cave 200 feet below the water, got disoriented, and then they ended up dying. So Maldives authorities sent 2 more divers down to try to locate the bodies and bring them back to the surface. They died too. So now 2 more divers from Finland are being sent down there to try to bring the bodies back to the surface. So it's very clear. This is not, if it's an unauthorized dive, this is a dangerous area where people, they have no business going.
During a huge storm, you wonder why the drains don't take all the water away, but it makes sense why it doesn't. It's blocked on purpose so it doesn't flood the underground cities.
And we have all the oxygenated atmosphere. That's why we had giants. That's why we also had these giant trees. That's why we had the sequoias. And Joe cut me off on the giants, but you can dig down there. You can see in the 1800s newspapers, throughout the 1800s, early 1900s, all around America, farmers were digging up giant bones. And they sent hundreds and hundreds of skulls and all these bones in the Smithsonian. The Smithsonian made a huge apology for losing or destroying all these bones. They're all gone. There's no more of these bones left. Where are the giant bones? They're probably hidden somewhere.
Yeah,
but giants existed. It's known. It's a fact. People lived longer in the old days than we do now. It's a fact. And the reason I know it's a fact is because there's evidence. And the other reason I know it's a fact is because I can do it today.
America is designed to make you feel like shit. It visually looks dehumanizing. This is what happens when capitalism is the highest pursuit, right? At the end of the day, everything is about money, but we all feel like shit.
We have a lot of people on the K-Fam that watch from all over the world. Is it, like, say you're in Australia or the UK, is there strip malls all up and down your major streets? Strip malls meaning, you know, small retail stores, but a bunch of them in one little outlet mall. Let me know down below. Is that how it is everywhere, or is this just an American thing? Because they are literally everywhere, every corner, every street. There's strip malls.
I'm the only one that thinks the elites that control the world created the Bible for population control. And now they control the events around the world's population to make people think that they're living out events in the Bible. Did y'all catch that?
I mean, I wouldn't put it past them.
Nobody loves you. Nobody really loves you. Go get some money.
Okay, so apparently this girl found a place where they what? People? That's all the screaming going on right there? Hold on, let's listen to that again. If I was her, I would definitely not be anywhere near that fence. Holy hell. Is that real? What do you think?
Who makes these random age limits? 21 to drink, 18 to vote, and how come if a kid graduates college at 16, he's a genius? But Tracy Lords does some fantastic films at 16. And son to me, I've seen those videos, and that was no innocent little girl.
Listen, all I'm going to say is you don't have one of the biggest podcasts in the
That's
world.
what I was getting ready to
if you've
say.
not been compromised. I know people might think it's really out there and he covers interesting topics, but so do you think he's controlled opposition?
Possibly.
I think he is. I mean, he's literally one of the biggest out there.
Exactly. And we've just caught him saying something like this from years ago.
Yeah. Very, very disturbing. I think when people say things like that, it opens up a window where you can see what's in their mind, and to say something like that is very worrying.
Yeah, 100%. It's just shocking. I don't even know why you would say that about a 16-year-old.
I mean, Cat Williams said it best. What's the number one job of somebody in the Illuminati? To deny being in the Illuminati, right? You don't get a multi-million-dollar contract from Spotify if they're not going to control you. They're not going to let you say whatever the heck you want, right? And we're starting to see that play out on his podcast now.
Costco here, and I'm noticing these prices. For example, these Madras lentils, $15.99. I bought those a year ago for $6.99.
Damn.
Let's look at what else we got going on here.
Mayonnaise.
Dang, this is the flour we were buying for $5.99 last year. We literally bought this chicken broth, $5.69, 2 months ago. And I keep getting told that we got, 6-7% inflation. You gotta be kidding me.
I mean, it kind of looks like these rich elites, the powers that be, that run all these companies, they're getting ready for the end. They're milking us for everything we got. We're going to raise gas. We're going to raise the housing. We're going to raise the cars. We're going to raise the insurance. We're going to raise the food. We're going to raise every little thing you can think of, because it is about to hit the fan, and we want to milk them for as much as they got before we hit that eject button and we're like, peace, going down that elevator,
So I do believe that a diagnosis is almost like a spell that modern medicine puts on your body, because they actually make it real. Do you know what I'm saying? Does this make sense to anyone?
I get it.
The thing is, the more you seek, the more diagnoses you accumulate, and the more spells you have on your body. And I do think, honestly, I truly believe, after being in modern medicine, then also being in the functional medicine space, the more diagnoses you accumulate doesn't mean the faster you heal. No. It usually means the more supplements you're on, the more medication you're on, and almost the sicker you become. And I truly believe that diagnoses are almost like spells that we put on our body and ourselves.
Some people get on medication and it makes them worse, right? It makes them worse, makes them go do heinous things to people, to themselves. But some people get on medication and it changes their life, right? They grow, they get better, right? Everybody's different. Everyone's wired different. So be careful with the advice for that you get on the internet.
Watching this, you will start to question your entire life. So this bizarre experiment exposed something very wild about human behavior. Scientists put 5 monkeys in a room. In the middle of the room, a ladder. And at the top of the ladder, bananas. Every time one of the monkeys tried climbing the ladder to grab the bananas, the scientists sprayed all of them with freezing cold water. So naturally, after a while, the monkeys learned. Touch the ladder, everybody suffers. So they stopped trying. But then the scientists did something really weird. They removed one monkey and replaced it with a brand new one. Now, obviously, the new monkey sees bananas and thinks, jackpot! So it runs for the ladder. But before it can even reach the bananas, the other monkeys start to pull it back down. Eventually, the new monkey learns, don't touch the ladder, even though it never got sprayed with cold water. Then they replaced another monkey until eventually none of the original monkeys were left, meaning none of the monkeys in that room had ever actually experienced the punishment, and yet none of them would touch the ladder. Why? Because that's just how things were done. Sound familiar? Because a lot of people are living by rules right now that they never question. Limits that they have accepted, not because they're true, but because nobody ever asked why. Where are you staying limited right now and never stop to question?
I mean, think about it. Generations past, it's so easy. It probably takes 2 or 3 generations. You don't know your great grandmother, right? I know I don't. I don't know my great grandmother. I know a lot of people don't. Some people do, but the majority of people don't know their great grandmother. The majority of people don't know their great great grandmother. Just in those 3 or 4 generations, you can change the whole history just like that. 3 or 4, let's just say 10 generations, you can change everything.
Something has just happened. Right after President Trump posted those images, we see a enormous mushroom cloud in Israel. Something's going on here. There is really no explanation for this. There's been a total and complete media blackout. Nothing makes sense. Again, these posts and these images are just minutes old. So perhaps there's some type of explanation beyond what has been whispered about online right now, which is that this was a controlled explosion. I'm sorry. You're looking at the explosion right now. Does that look like a controlled explosion to you? This is a mushroom cloud, and it's light. It's so big, it turns the night sky into daytime. And this is, of course, being shared all over the internet. Massive explosion in Israel. The Israeli government claim they're testing a new device. Okay, what? Something just exploded in Bet Shemesh in the in here. I mean, listen to this. Look at that. Did you hear that? So wait a second. Why would you be doing a controlled explosion without warning anyone? There are places in America that do controlled explosions and that have munitions. The White Sands, for instance, but they warn all the locals. They warn people when they're testing weapons. They keep people very far away. Israel's not a big country, so it's not like there's a lot of room to test things. And so why would you do it in this incredibly populated area? Here's Bet Shemesh in Israel. What is it, Bet Shemesh in Israel? Where is it? Well, it's really not that far away from Jerusalem. I mean, not far away at all.
What if school book fairs are selling kids devices used to spy on their parents?
The Scholastic Book Fair didn't sell toys. It sold functional surveillance equipment to 9-year-olds. You remember the smell of those battered silver cases when they rolled into the gymnasium. They looked like military transport crates because that's exactly what they were. But look closer at the inventory list from 1996. The Spy Ear, a working parabolic microphone. You thought it was a toy? It was a hot mic. The schematics show a secondary transmitter inside the plastic casing. You weren't just listening to your parents argue. The agency was listening to you, and those gray kneaded erasers everyone had, they weren't for pencil lead. They were standard issue fingerprint lifting compound. You freely gave them your biometrics for 50 cents. And the books? They were the psychological profile. If you bought Goosebumps, you tested high for trauma tolerance. If you bought I Spy, you had elite pattern recognition. That thin newsprint catalog wasn't an order form. It was a personality test. The parent volunteers running the cash box, they weren't moms. They were handlers marking the high potential subjects.
So it was actually aired on the news that people are hearing voices in their head? And even more so, these people think that for some reason they are targeted. We'll get to something completely unrelated in 1 second.
Hundreds of people in the valley say they are hearing voices in their heads. And those voices are being transmitted by microwave or other methods.
Well, several viewers asked us to investigate what they call electronic harassment. KMIR 6's Angela Monroe joins us now with what she's discovered. Angela.
Electronic harassment, synthetic telepathy, voice-to-skull technology. Chances are you haven't heard of these terms, but after searching the internet, I found dozens of websites dedicated to the phenomenon and several Valley residents who say they're victims.
How much more can you invade me than to go into my brain? It sounds like somebody else is reading the book, only it's thoughts.
And of course, right now of all times, we have Luna and the Congress bring forth legislation or a hearing on MK Ultra. Which, by the way, I saw a video claiming that Voice to Skull was the future version of MK, and that's not true. I'll break it down in 1 second. But of course, we have this patent which literally combats the Voice to Skull patent. So obviously, it's true, otherwise there wouldn't be a patent, right? I wonder who would be beaming voices into these people's skull, right? Alright, so there's one main video, and it's the reason a lot of people are making videos saying that Voice to Skull is the future mode of MK. But that's not true at all. They're two completely different things. Because MK is a way that they induce trauma. They can use a TV screen or real life events and induce trauma to a person to then control the outcome of that person when they're in a certain mind state. Of course, they're not using the news and the TV in your living room to create these trauma-based mindsets. No way. So MK is trauma-induced actions. Voice to Skull is basically hypnosis on independent particular people, whichever one, whoever is doing this chooses. Because they'll hear these words in their head so many times to the point where they think it's them and they think it's real and then they will act on this. It's very similar, but it's totally not the same thing. Because what if I told you these both were going to be used in conjunction for this great massive deception? Fiction story here, of course, trauma will be induced from the news and from the TV screens, make people act off emotions. And then when they see something in the sky, they'll have Voice to Skull and they'll believe that it's something very serious to them. But know this, if they are doing a hearing for something, that's because they actually want you to know it. Ask yourself, why?
Humans weren't built for this. And I think a lot of people quietly feel like they're drowning, mentally at least, because of it. But because I think modern life is becoming psychologically overwhelming for normal people. You're hit with more information in one day than people used to consume in months. Every single tragedy on earth enters your phone instantly. Every political fight becomes your fight. Every outrage cycle demands your participation. Humans weren't built for this. And I think a lot of people quietly feel like they're drowning, mentally at least, because of it. That's why most of my favorite moments in life right now are honestly the simplest, most basic ones. Getting a few minutes of quiet with my wife, working on a creative project, driving with the windows down, the music up, watching my kids grow up and doing something new or learning something new for the first time. That's the greatest feeling as a parent. That stuff matters to me more than chasing status or pretending that I have life perfectly figured out, because I don't. Nobody does. And honestly, I think pretending otherwise is part of what's making people miserable. It's just disingenuous, and everyone's tired of it.
We get so much news coming, and so many people let that affect them. You can't. There's nothing you can do if somebody killed somebody, if there's a war, a geno going on, if there's all these, there's nothing you can do about it. Nothing. And we're going to get into that Theo Vaughn and Joe Rogan thing, because that has something to kind of do with this on my third channel, link down below.
13, the second beast in Revelation 13, I believe, is Elon Musk, or he embodies that second beast, because he speaks like a lamb. He looks like a lamb, but he speaks like a dragon. Elon Musk looks like a good guy, but Elon Musk wants to put a neural link in your head. Elon Musk wants to merge you with machine. Elon Musk is saying that everybody should have their robot girlfriend, and there's going to be more robots on Earth than humans. The Bible says he makes fire to come down from heaven if you watch his rockets. And guess what? His robots are actually called legions. And then Revelation 13:14 say he would deceive those that are on the earth to make images unto the beast. The devil will have power to give breath to the image of the beast, that the image of the beast will both speak and cause as many as will not worship the image of the beast to be killed. So you want to see robots, image of the beast given breath, clones. Right now, they're even telling you that when you die, they can download your brain. You should put a neural link in your brain so that they can like save your brain, so that if you die, they will produce another body, and you can inhabit that body and live forever.
I was never a fan of Elon Musk. Let me know, what do you guys think of Elon? If you are not a fan of Elon, put a robot in the comments so I know, y'all, because I have never been a fan of him.
Have you seen some of these guys, like the Elons, what they've been coming out and saying in recent years about, 2027-ish? You seen any of this?
Well, go ahead and refresh my
There's
memory.
a tweet I gave Deep. Do we have it? So this was a rehash of some things that Elon said in a Lex Friedman interview. And there's something in this tweet where they say some lines were deleted. I don't know if that means he YouTube editor it or something, but if you go to the top, Deep, I just want to... After 2027, there will be no way back. Elon Musk said this in a podcast with Lex Friedman, a line that was later cut. When asked why, he fell silent for almost a minute.
Fuck, that's a scary minute.
Then he quietly said, shout out to Lex for letting him sit there with that. That's pretty heavy. Then he quietly said, it's not a catastrophe, it's a transition. The transcript left behind 3 themes that gave him away: autonomous intelligence, loss of meaning, and energy independence. It all sounded like a forecast, but now reads like a diagnosis of the era. The first sign is the collapse of attention. Musk said humanity will stop thinking in cycles. Planning for the future will shrink to the horizon of updates. That line hits me hard. People will stop building and start simply replacing. MIT research confirms a generation born after 2000 holds attention for about 8 seconds, less than a goldfish. I used to say that to Alessi, but he's gotten a lot better now. Musk called this cultural Alzheimer's. We're not losing memory, we're losing the ability to think. The second sign is artificial intelligence that no longer obeys. Musk says when a system starts correcting humans, That time of linear logic is over. Even now, algorithms decide who we date, what we buy, and what we think about. This isn't a machine uprising, it's dissolution into convenience. People won't notice the moment when choice becomes an option, not a right. The third sign is energy dependence. Musk explains civilization can no longer survive even a day without electricity. By 2027, here it is, in his view, the balance will shift. Energy will become currency and control over it will become power. From that moment on, everything non-autonomous will disappear. This isn't an apocalypse, it's a change of biological form. At the end, he said a line that didn't make it on air. Technology is stronger than us, but not smarter. As long as we have meaning, we are alive. Lose it and we become code. Then, after a pause, he added, we must learn to be human before systems learn to be gods. Are you ready for the transition, or already living in a world where choices are made for you?
You know what's sad is he knows all this and he's still adding more fuel to that fire, right? He's still doing AI. He's still doing autonomous cars. He's still doing all, even though it's going to be our downfall, he's still doing all this for the money.
Coca-Cola advertisers went, people buy our product in the summer. We want to sell it in the winter. Coca-Cola went to the advertisers and told them, how do we get the sales up in the winter? And they came back and they said, we'll make you an ad campaign. They basically redid St. Nicholas as Santa Claus. And the way they did it was they merged him with the story of Kris Kringle. They changed his colors because St. Nicholas was usually portrayed as with green and brown clothing. They made him older so they could make his skin pink and his hair white. They put him in a red and white uniform because that's what Coca-Cola colors are. And they made him heavy set because that way he's jolly.
I didn't even know
happy.
this.
And then they would show him drinking Coca-Cola.
Watch this.
I can't wait for everybody to find out what's really been going on in the background. Y'all don't see the lineup?
Oh, yeah, no. Yeah, we see the lineup. I'm just waiting to see who's next.
Jay-Z is setting Diddy up. Why is everyone having such a hard time? He ain't doing different. He lined up D. Haven, stole his life and identity. He lined up Big L, stole his life and identity. He lined up Dame Dash, stole his life, identity, and took his love. Lined up R. Kelly.
They went on concert, yeah, together.
He wants to be the one.
Jaguar Wright should have never spoken about Jay-Z like that, because what she revealed exposed the hidden side of his career. In reality, Jay-Z allegedly built his empire by destroying every person who stood in his way, one by one. First to Haven, by taking his life and identity. Then Big L, same thing. Then Dame Dash, his own associate, he took everything from him, his life, his identity, and even the woman he loved. And then R. Kelly. All of this because Jay-Z wanted to be the only one at the top. And that's when it becomes even darker. Jay-Z is also said to be connected to Aaliyah's disappearance to remove her from the way and push Beyonce forward at a time when she allegedly wasn't breaking through. And when you look at the timeline of everything that happened around him, every person who became an obstacle ended up disappearing in one way or another. And Diddy in all of this, it's exactly the same pattern. Jay-Z supposedly set a trap for him because Diddy knew too much. He had too much information, and someone with that much information becomes a direct threat to everything Jay-Z built. The pattern is always the same. Every person who becomes too important or knows too much eventually falls, and every time Jay-Z ends up more powerful than before. It's not a coincidence, it's a strategy, and that's why today nobody can touch him.
Yo, what the F? The news is actually saying right now that 4 different kinds of alien, even a 7-foot tall lizard alien. I mean, are y'all getting this? And just wait till I show you how all of this stuff connects. First, watch this.
We are not alone. The Pentagon released the UFO file. The War Department says more files will be released soon. UFO experts and top researchers have been investigating aliens for years. Their sources say dozens of crashed UFOs have been recovered, and what they found inside, shocking.
And do people think that there's one type of non-human intelligence that's visiting the Earth, or is there many, many types?
People who have been involved in recoveries have said
there are at least 4 separate types. Now, I have not had direct access to that, but I believe the people who I've talked to.
4 different types of life.
4 different types of life.
4 different species of aliens. Another scientist called them Greys, Nordics, Insectoids, and Reptilians.
Did you see his eyes, by the way? Go back and watch again. Maybe he's one of those lizards too. So it's 2026 and now they're talking about reptilians on the news. Now watch how insane this gets. So we have the 250th celebration coming up. Of course, the movie Independence Day shows the UFO over the White House. Remember the whole Illuminati card game? Church over Middle America. You remember the pastors just coming out like last week or 2 weeks ago? Which, by the way, if you follow me, you already knew that the pastors were going to do that because I've been telling you for 2 years about FEMA. Oh, look at this. And now Steven Spielberg is dropping that Disclosure movie or documentary coming out, I think, next month. We just had the upside down flag on the plate, 1776-2026, as if it's like the death date. Meanwhile, by the way, UFOs are showing up everywhere, and I even saw them in Florida 2 days ago. Look, I don't know exactly when this whole thing is going down. All I know is that this spiritual wickedness in high places hates the name Jesus. Remember that? You'll be golden. On the freaking news, oh my goodness.
I can't wrap my head around why AI data centers require fresh water. Why not wastewater or recycled water or salt water, but fresh, drinkable water wasted by the millions of gallons just to cool servers?
Well, we know that a third of the angels fall. Now, obviously, if you look up at the stars, there's still a lot up there. Like you could imagine there was more. There's a third more, and then they came down.
Well, what's interesting about that is the correlation also. Is it Paramount?
Yeah, Paramount has
The intro
that opening. Yeah, it definitely looks like a representation of Mount Hermon. When you see the way the stars come down and then they settle over a mountain, that these mountains were often said in these mythologies and these religions, it's the places where the heavens meet the earth. And so this is the abode of certain gods. So just in itself, it's like, regardless if they match up perfectly with the Book of Enoch, that's like a thing. That's not something I made up. That's a real thing. Even like when you get into like the idea of like the Hollywood Walk of Fame and everybody gets a star. Even your kids, they go to school and it's like, oh, you did good. You get a gold star. Why a star?
And everyone wanting to be a movie star, a rock star.
And LA is the city of angels. And I'm not one of these people who think every one of these people who does a movie is a fallen angel, because I know some people say that. That's stupid. I think some of them are just regular people, but I do believe that, yeah, they could be amongst us.
YouTube made $10 billion in the first quarter of 2026. 10. Okay, let me break this down. If you do not have a personal brand in this day and age, in 2026, you are leaving money on the table. I don't care if you're a doctor, a lawyer, a real estate agent, a scuba diver, a blacksmith, whatever it is, you have to be a part of the creator economy. It is projected by the end of this year to be worth over $250 billion. Now, a lot of people think that you have to be a creator to participate in the creator economy. No, you just have to use the tools, i.e. social media. It really comes down to reach and marketing. You guys, how is it that McDonald's can sell piece of shit burgers but still be recognized as one of the most iconic brands of all time? Marketing. And speaking of faceless corporations, those are going away. Going back to what I said, personal brands is the driving force behind all this, because you have Amazon with Jeff Bezos, you have Tesla and X with Elon, so on and so forth. Times are changing. You have to reinvent. And if you don't think AI is coming for your job, think again. Because top business schools like Purdue, Johns Hopkins, and UC Irvine have announced that they have cut their tuition rates up to 50%. Why would they do that? Oh, maybe because enrollment is low and AI is taking jobs and personal brands are becoming a real thing. I mean, you guys do realize that college is a scam. This is why they put a box on your head when you graduate, because they don't want you to think outside of it. And by the year 2030, the creator economy will be worth $500 billion. Let that sink in. Now, if you're an entrepreneur or business or anything in between, hit me up. I'm starting to do consultations for this new creator economy. If you have no idea where to start, just hit me up. And as always, let me know what you guys think below.
I tell you guys now, get started. Get started. There is a big election coming up, y'all. If you guys like politics, if you like that type of thing, just start doing politic content. That is going to be top dog in the next year or two. couple years, y'all. I'm telling you guys, get into content creation on the side, whether you're a mechanic, an electrician, flipping burgers. There's people making content on everything, y'all. But make sure you guys click this video over here. Go down that rabbit hole. If not, go click this video, my second channel. I got a dope CIA video dropping today. Go check it out. Segovia Man Cave. See you guys on the next one.